Hello, my name is Paul Kahan. I'm the executive chef for One Off Hospitality Group in Chicago. Our group is comprised of 10 restaurants, One Off. Each restaurant's a little bit different. I'm here in the kitchen of Avec, one of our beloved restaurants in Chicago. We actually have 3, the original on West Randolph Street, this new glorious Avec with 2 wood-burning hearths in River North, and we have Bar Avec on the rooftop. The food at Avec is Mediterranean inspired. I guess we lean a little bit heavier towards the flavors of Israel, of Lebanon, I guess Mediterranean Rim. And we really focus on local producers, local ingredients, and very simply prepared food. The key here is I'm going to be using some of my favorite cookware. STEELPORT knives, beautiful, gorgeous. We'll talk a little bit about those later, like a dream come true. And Finex cookware. Interestingly enough, both products are founded by the same gentleman, so that's exciting. So let's get started. Because in Chicago in winter nothing is in season. That's not true, actually. Since I started cooking about 35 years ago, we do get produce year-round. We do have growers that grow in hoop houses, that overwinter crops, that store crops, and so that's been a great development in the Chicago market. We try to be as sustainable as we can in every way, in everything that we do. Sweet potatoes, these little gnarly guys from a local farm called Nichols Farm and Orchard. And what we're going to do is we're going to pan roast them in a cast iron pan, and then we're going to dress them up with great things like avocado, sweet onion, some amazing spices that I also source from great friends. We'll talk about those later. And then we finish it off with some crispy garnishes, fried bulgur and sunflower seeds. So let's get going. You game? I am. So the first things first, we're going to take these beautiful sweet potatoes that have been washed, cut off any gnarly parts. I like to split them in half first. You know, one of the things about these knives that I'm so impressed with, I mean, I got one of these in the mail because I'm such a fan of Finex and they're connected. And they sent me the knife, and the first thing that really stands out to me is the feel in my hand. I'm not one for ergonomic grips or goofy, trendy things. This one is symmetrical. It feels really great. It's obviously handcrafted. Really a big fan. And then carbon steel. I love carbon knives. They stay sharper longer. These are carbon knives that are polished to a high polish, and then, believe it or not, dipped in, yes, coffee to sort of seal the deal. But normal carbon knives really stain, and you have to oil them after you clean them, but it really doesn't stain nearly as much, if at all for that matter. So, big fan of the craftsmanship, of the way it feels in my hand, and of course, most importantly, the way that it cuts. Great honed edge, really, really fun to cook with. Alrighty, so sweet potatoes, and then I like a nice organic cut, so I'm gonna sort of oblique cut these. We want them to be about the same size so that they cook evenly. Well, I'm just about finished with these. I'm going to turn my pan on because I want it to be smoking hot when I throw the sweet potatoes in. Ah, winter in Chicago. It's warming up. I just got back from the north woods of Wisconsin. I was ice fishing for the last 2 days. Did pretty well. At any rate, so oblique cut locally grown sweet potatoes. I want the pan to be smoking hot. And then while those are in the oven, I'm going to pickle some lemons for you guys. Talk about the 2 dressings that I've made, a buttermilk harissa, creamy vinaigrette, and then Aleppo chili oil. And then we'll put the whole thing together. It's really very simple. Again, based on terrific ingredients. So we're going to cook these potatoes in extra virgin olive oil. Pour a little bit in there. And in they go. I'm going to season them with salt and pepper. So my objective is to get a nice fond, a nice golden color on the sweet potatoes, and then I'm going to pop them in the wood hearth to finish them, and then we'll get started on the lemons. Yeah, so they've been in the pan for about 2 minutes, and as soon as we get some nice caramelization on there like that, maybe a little bit more, we're going to throw them in the hearth to finish them and cook them until they're just tender. So the next part of the recipe is something that can be completed the night before. They can actually sit in the fridge for about a month. It's sort of our quick, simple version of preserved lemon. We had a really interesting spice blend that I get from a friend in New York. His name is Lior Surkars. His company is called Le Boite, and they do great spice blends. He's one of my favorites. This one is called Isaac, and it's sort of a dry harissa. Cumin, coriander, chilies, all kinds of complex flavors. So we start off with 3 lemons washed. And for this, I like to use a slicing knife because I want, it's as if the lemons were a piece of fish or meat. I want some nice thin, even slices. For the sweet potato, I use the 8-inch chef's knife, which is sort of a universal tool for me. You can use a smaller knife, but this is big enough for big jobs, and it just feels right in my hands. So I can smash a garlic clove, I can slice a Fresno chili, really anything, slice up an avocado. So perfect knife for that. It's a little bit of a thinner blade, a little longer for slicing. So I'm gonna discard the ends, and then nice even slices. I would say about maybe 1/8 of an inch thick. If there's seeds in there, I'll pull those out when I get them all done. They don't have to be perfect. Actually, nothing that I do has to be perfect. It's my credo. Makes everything seem like it has some actual soul. You know, in one of my cookbooks, I wrote something called the Anti-Tweezer Manifesto in the beginning, because I guess I fight perfection. Maybe it's just, maybe it's that I just don't have the talent or skill to make it perfect, but I don't think that's the case. So that's one done. Again, discarding the ends. And I'm just using the tip of my pointing finger as a guide to achieve hopefully an even thickness. That's 2. You know, for me, I'm kind of a gearhead. I like anything that's well made, that's made by people that are passionate. It's just it's about the tactile feel for me. The knife just feels so good in your hand. It's so sharp. It's so attractive. You know, I'm into handmade hi-fi gear, and I'm into beautiful pots and pans, and I guess I just like things that are made by craftspeople. And these knives are definitely made by craftspeople. They're made by hand, and it really shows in the quality of the product. So lemons into a large bowl. Okay. And I am going to add 1 chopped up Fresno. Again, for that, I'm going to switch back to the 8-inch chef's knife, the all-purpose knife, if you will. And for this, some seeds are okay. It doesn't have to be, you know, seeds equate to heat. So I'm going to remove the ribs and the seeds for the most part. But if some get in there, it's not going to ruin anything. And Fresnos are not so hot that I can't not touch them without rubber gloves. I'll be okay. Okay, I'm gonna check out my sweet potatoes. they're getting there. You can see that they're really starting to caramelize nicely. A little more color is okay. I don't mind that. It equates to flavor. Back into the beast. So we're going to chop up these Fresnos. And they're really nothing that we need to be super careful with. They're just little flecks of red and heat in the lemons. So I'm just going to mince them up. Okay, and then we're going to add our flavorings. A quarter cup of sugar, quarter cup of lemon juice. This is the spice Isaac that I told you about. Sweet chilies, a little bit of Aleppo, oregano, cumin, and a lot of stuff that he never tells me what's in there because it's top secret, and Lior claims that I would have to give him my American Express card if he told me everything that was in there. So in with the spices, Isaac. I'm going to season it with salt. Again, that's a sort of per your taste. And then we're going to toss these, put them in a covered container and throw them in the fridge. And again, you can use these 2 or 3 hours after you make them, or use them a month later, and they just get better as they sit. So that's our pickled lemons. Alrighty, I'm gonna set those aside. All right, I'm gonna check my potatoes again. So they're done. As soon as they are forgiving, as soon as you can squeeze them and crush them in your hand, they're good. Just gonna let these sit, and we'll just use them warm for the final dish. The components that are I've already completed. One is a buttermilk and harissa vinaigrette, buttermilk, lemon, vinegar, garlic, pretty simple, salt and pepper. The other one is Aleppo chili oil. It's just Aleppo pepper, which is a beautiful, not too hot, not too sweet pepper that originates from northern Syria. Most of it comes from Turkey now, but it's has sort of a deep guttural flavor and a very pleasant heat. We just whisk Aleppo and extra virgin olive oil together. I made that already. And we're going to slice up some sweet onion. This is a Texas 1040. You can always tell the sweet onions, they're kind of squat. I'm an onion eater, so I'm gonna go ahead and slice this up. And we're just gonna put these raw on the dish. So I wanna slice them in a shape that's pleasant. I'm gonna go with just half moons. Nice and thin. Should be enough. I'm gonna cut some avocado. Rules about avocados, coming from a guy who worked in a Mexican restaurant for a long time, always get rid of the nub first, because that'll end up hidden in your avocado or in your guacamole, and you don't want to break a tooth on that baby. So first things first, we get rid of that. You want the avocado to be forgiving, but not too forgiving. We run the knife around it, disconnect it. Way to get rid of the seed is just by to click the butt of your knife into it, and then you just click that on the side of a garbage can. Boom, it'll pop right off, because that can be dangerous. And then I'm going to just slice the avocado, run the knife against the bottom of these. These are so sharp they go right through, but do my best to run it through and not cut through. And then I want big chunks, so I'm just going to cut them in half. I think one will be enough. And then when we're ready to plate it, I'm just going to spoon it out with the spoon. Also, I like to squeeze a little lemon juice on there. Acidity always makes your food taste better, and it'll just prevent discoloration. So that's ready. And then the last two components, Crispy Bulgur wheat. It's just bulgur, traditional bulgur that we steamed, covered with water, cooked the water out, steamed it, and then let it cool overnight on an open tray in the cooler to dry out. And then we just deep fry it in extra virgin olive oil at 325 degrees until it stops bubbling, and some nice toasted sunflower seeds. So let's put this whole thing together. It should be easy. So we're gonna start and lay a base of these beautiful roasted sweet potatoes. I guess I would categorize this as a warm salad. Warm and room temperature. And then we're gonna add our avocado. The lemon juice never hurts. And I am a fan of kind of random, some white space on the plate I think is beautiful. Next, onions. I like a lot of onions, but again, it's really up to you. And then we're gonna do our two dressings and then finish it with some garnishes. So first, the creamy dressing. Crispy Buttermilk. Followed by Aleppo Oil. You want to stir it up so you get some nice solids in there. And then we're going to go with some pickled lemons. Just lay them over the top. If you prefer, you can chop them up. And then dill. And I'm not one of these fussy guys that spends a lot of time picking herbs. I actually think that herb stems, for the most part, are delicious. Obviously not rosemary or thyme, but all the soft herb stems, tarragon, etc., are delicious. So I just want it coarse. I'm just going to run my knife through it. If you get some stem, it's all good. And then the final touch, the crispy bulgur. And some more hippie stuff, some sunflower seeds. That's the ticket right there.